Hello everybody and welcome to an awesome episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now, quick disclaimer here guys before we get started on this eye candy here, and much more than eye candy. I do want to guys to go right off the bat. This is a development early access version of this aircraft. Many of the features and flight model performance, etc. may change before the actual release date of this aircraft. I was reached out to by MilViz, the developers of this aircraft, this morning, and they asked if I would do a review of this aircraft in its current condition. I have already flown the aircraft a little bit, sort of got myself a little familiar with it. So this isn't a first-time experience, as it wouldn't be fair to do a first-time experience since the aircraft has yet to be released in its final stages. So, but I can tell you right now that I'm already pumped with this aircraft. So I just want to make sure you guys get that clear. Once again, anything that you see in this video is subject to change before the actual release date. All right, I do not know the price of the aircraft upon release as of yet. I do know that the release date is coming very soon. So be on the lookout for it. Now let's get into this amazing aircraft. Now, this aircraft here is the FG-1D Corsair. The reason why it doesn't have the F4U designation, it was actually built by Goodyear. That's hence the designation change, but it is in all sense and purposes the F4U Corsair. So it was an incredible aircraft, probably one of my favorite from the era. A really amazing, very large aircraft. She was a beast, very fast, fairly maneuverable, but yeah, let's get into the goods and greats of this aircraft. First off, the texturing and modeling is absolutely fantastic. The weathering, the dirt and the grime on the flight control surfaces, I mean, just everything looks absolutely just beautiful. You can see footprints where someone has been walking with their greasy shoes up on the aircraft. I mean, they wasted no detail. You look up near the engine cowling and you can see all the wearing and the rust and the grease. I mean, just fantastic. Get up into the engine here, into the engine bay, and I mean, check out that detail. I mean, just, it looks absolutely gorgeous. Look at the weathering on the propeller. I mean, just yeah, I can keep repeating myself over and over again. I was so blown away when I first loaded this aircraft up, and I was not expecting it based on some other variants of World War II aircraft that have come out. Not to say they were bad by any means, but this definitely set the bar for that particular era. Let's go ahead and step into the cockpit. Alright, so stepping into the cockpit, this is an aircraft that is showing her age. You can see, almost feel the history. Now, I will tell you guys, all the flying that I have done in this aircraft thus far has been in virtual reality, and it is amazing, absolutely mind-blowing experience. You know, I thought the Waco was fun in VR. This thing is fantastic, especially you kick that window back and just enjoy the Pacific Ocean here. Really fantastic work. But if you take a look around the rest of the cockpit, I mean, just doesn't matter where you look, this thing looks like it's 80 years old, you know, which I actually think is more like 70 years old if I'm correct. Oh, what did I do? Oh, that was the flap handle. Okay, and you can see the flaps are actually down because there isn't any hydraulic power. You know, I'm wondering, check the hand pump. I don't know if they'll come up or down or not. I don't even know if they're supposed to. I was just curious. And keep that in mind, guys, that as we get through the engine startup process, I am still learning. I've had this thing for a matter of hours. I've never flown any variant of an F4U. DCS has been talking of having one for a while, but, you know, we've yet to see it. But I'll tell you right now, from the little flight experience I do have with this aircraft, DCS, they better set the bar right, because this thing was really awesome. And I think for us DCS players, this is a nice intermediate, you know, something to train with until it comes out. And we'll talk about why more in a minute here. All these switches are functional. The gun sight actually does come on when you have the electrical power turned on, so I thought that was kind of neat. You can flip the gun sight on. All the switches work. Your bomb releases work. Your arming, your fuses armings. I mean, now obviously you can't drop any ordnance in MSFS, but the fact that the controls themselves are simulated is awesome. You have the landing gear lever and then the dive brake, and that does work. And again, we'll be demonstrating some of that later. The only thing that I haven't been able to get work, and I could be doing something wrong, maybe missing a step, I haven't been able to get the wings to fold. So like for example, if we pull that back, oh, come on. Oh, you know what? I bet it's because the flaps are down. Okay, so yeah, we'll have to see what happens here later on. We'll take a look at that. But you got the tail wheel lock. That actually works. Push in, the tail wheel was released. Pull it up. It's locked. Trim wheel. Aileron trim, rudder trim. You're going to want to map all of these, by the way, guys. I'm going to give you the heads up right now. So the only thing that, as of the time of making this, that is just for cosmetic purposes is the supercharger. The supercharger handle, according to the documentation, which is very fantastic. If you guys take a look, this is just one of the many pages. Here's the startup checklist, and the checklist is also inside the cockpit and interactive. And I'll demonstrate that in just a second here. But the checklist for this aircraft is absolutely wonderful. They've done such a fantastic job. And see, so here's the procedure for folding the wings. Now, I haven't been able to make that work yet, but that could totally be me. Maybe it's just, that's something that will be available on release. I'm not sure yet. But the arrestor hook control, everything you see here functions. Absolutely wonderful. They do a full breakdown of the cockpit. I was so happy to see this. I mean, look at this. Everything is broken down. Now, I need to study a whole lot more of it. I'm not a professional with it by any means yet. Again, keep in mind, I've only had it for a matter of hours. But you look at this documentation, and it's just, this is documentation. This is setting the bar. They even go as far as to tell you, I can't remember where it is, but some of the oh, actually, I think we're coming up on it. Oh, here's the checklist. So the checklist is in the aircraft. Here it is. So they even go as far to make sure that our recommendation is set the CG towards the middle of the aircraft range, around 30% Mach. You just take the slider bar, move it back, and boom, you're set and ready to roll. The external tanks are modeled. You cannot drop them, but what you can do is just simply go into your fuel load and take center 3, external 1 and 2, take them to 0, and the respective tanks will disappear. So, for example, center 3 is actually right here in the center of the aircraft. So again, nice features, gives you that cosmetic feeling. The fuel tanks do work. They are modeled. So that's another neat thing to keep in mind. It comes with multiple liveries. These are just a screenshot here of some of the liveries that are included. And they're all gorgeous, just absolutely awesome. I couldn't decide which one I was going to use for this video. I mean, they're just so well detailed. Anyway, I'm rambling, and I guarantee I can do that for hours with this aircraft. This thing is so much fun. But let's go ahead and take a look at a startup procedure here. Okay, so disclaimer here, this is my first time flying this aircraft outside of VR, so no promises on anything. Now, we're going to go ahead and we'll take a look at the in-game checklist and see how well it works. So pre-flight here, we checked our weight and load. I set that up beforehand. I'll show you guys real quick. I'm talking about with the weights and balances here. So again, you set your CG to the 30% Mach like they recommend. I'm not rocking any fuel tanks, but the external fuel tanks, this would be center belly, and then pylon 1, pylon 2. Okay, and this would be left side and right side, I believe. All right, but anyway, nothing too fancy to be concerned about there. Let's get back into our checklist. All right, so water injection check, oil level check. Okay, so we're going to assume that we checked those. Parking brake is set. Let me double check that for a second here. And I do recommend mapping these to something if you haven't already. Navigation lights. So, for example, this is one that I always forget where it is. Come up here. Ah, there we go. All right, so let's, I believe you want flash. Is it flash that you want on taxi? I always get the nav lights confused. I always get them confused. We'll do bright because it's in the day. All right, and then so we'll just call these ticked and ticked. All right, uncheck those. Oh wait, what was that? Oh yeah, we got these guys up here too. So recognition lights, and what do we got here? Down. I can't see behind that thing. Well, we'll throw that one on like that. There we go. Okay, so there we go. Untick those. Oh, we got our amber lights back there too. Huh, neat. I didn't see those before. Okay, so now let's go to starting the engine. Now here's where this gets tricky for me. So let's see here. Magnetos are off. So we're just going to try to walk through this tick. Mixture is... Oh, see, that's what I was worried about. I hate this stupid thing. How did that get so effed up? That's... There we go. That was weird. I'm not sure what happened there. Alright, so mixture back into idle cutoff. Alright, so check. Crank the engine. Check. I don't know how to crank the engine yet. Actually, yes I do. Let's see here. It should be... Okay, well, nothing happened. Oh, you know what? Never mind, I know what this is. Normally you'd be able to step outside and crank it. I don't know why I didn't think about that. Alright, so ticket. That's to get all the oil and everything out of the bottom of it and mixed around in the rotary engine, if I have that correct. Alright, fuel selector. We're going to put that down into the reserve position. Cowl flap should be over here. And we want it to full open. There we go. Cowl flap in the full open position. Prop RPM. That's actually down here. And full down is full RPM. Alright, so let's see here. Let me get these ticked. Ticked. Alternate air, direct pushed in. Supercharger is in neutral. And again, that's just cosmetic. Throttle, red quadrant. I'm guessing that we just have to need to be inside this zone here. So we'll just crack the throttle a little bit. Tick. Battery on. There's our battery. Not sure why the engine's ticking. Oh, because I have the starter on. Oh, and then once you turn it on, I think we're effed. Yeah, we'll just have to wait for it to fail, because it should fail. Instrument on. Tick. Fuel pump. On. Engine primer for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, tick. Mixture to full rich. Fuel pump off. Ignition to start. Looks like it already is starting. Trying to anyway. Let's see here. Let's verify where. Oh, nope, never mind. Never mind, it's the magnetos. And there she is coming to life. And just listen to that sound. It's doing that. Alright, oil pressure indicated. Alright, now engine warm up. Cowl flap is still full open. Oil flap should be set to closed. Or is that open? Oh, yeah, that's open. Sorry. Pull that back. Tick item. Oh, here. Let's do this. Cowl flap is open. Oil pressure above 20 pounds. I think that's down here. It's hydraulic pressure. There it is, oil pressure. We are above 20 pounds. Oil temperature, check between 40 Celsius and 104 degrees. There it is. Yep, we're good there. 104, give or take, right on the line, looks like. Alternate air, direct in. RPM, a little high. Let's pull that back. And just listen to this, guys. Sounds absolutely amazing. Alright, engine RPM, we are at 1,000. Oil temperature, we checked. Cylinder head temperature. Let's see here, where's my cylinder head? There we go. Cylinder temp. 120 to 248 degrees. Okay, we're good there. Engine RPM, here we go, set to 2,000. Oil pressure 85 to 90 pounds. Looks like we're right on the edge. Looks more like 80 pounds. So it looks like that's a little low. Fuel pressure 16 to 18 pounds. Let's see what we got here. That's our tank. Oh, fuel pressure right there. Alright, and we're looking at 16 pounds there. Alright, that's good. Magnetos, no more drop than 100. Nice. Engine RPM 1200 to 1400 RPMs. There we go. Oil temperature 60 to 140 degrees. Looks like we're just under 100, so we're good there. Oil pressure 50 pounds. Almost right on the money there. Supercharger into high. Now this is, again, just cosmetic. But, what the heck, it's fun. Throttle open 1/2 inch. Manifold stable. Supercharger low. Oh, wait. And so you could still walk through all of this. No fluctuation there, but again, that is not, it's not modeled. It's just there for cosmetics. So, still fun, and who knows, I have no idea what's coming down the line. Alright, takeoff RPM, so that's going to be full. Alright, so we are on the before takeoff page. Cowl flaps 2/3 open. Looks like it already set itself back there. Intercooler flap closed. Oil cooler flap open as required. Huh. I'm not sure. There's something else controlling that. That's okay. We'll just move on. Rudder trim. Alright, so they want 6 degrees nose right. And then we want aileron trim 6 degrees right as well. Now this one takes a bit longer. And I'm actually going to go a bit further on both. Whoa, not that far. Just from what I've discovered thus far. And then trim, nose trim, 1 degree nose up. Oh, hey. There we go. Alright. Let's see what we got here. Alright, so we got our trim set, alternate air set, flaps as required. The guide recommends 20 degrees of flaps. But anything all the way up to 50 can be used based on the length of the runway. Tail wheel will be locked at takeoff. For right now, we're going to let it be hanging free for a taxi. Manifold pressure will be at 54 inches. We'll be ready to roll. Alright, so let's go ahead and get on to the taxi. Alright, so get myself situated here a little bit. Again, I've been flying the whole time in VR, so don't have my camera settings set up like I normally do. Alright, so parking brakes are released. You know what? I might have had that reversed. Oh, see, now the camera's weird, and I did have that reversed. Okay, so oops, I would have hit that building right there, but so pulled up like that, the tail wheel's free. Thank you to the gentleman who made that aircraft adjuster tool. Alright, so let's get going here. And you do want to be really careful. She will roll on taxi fairly easily. Big old wing will just drop down to the other side. Yes, I know I didn't use the taxiway. Trust me. This, way too exciting of an aircraft to fly to worry about it. Alright, now you want to be real gentle on your brakes. She will prop strike. Let's see if I can get somewhat in the middle, because it's pretty terrible. We're on Ford Island in Hawaii, near Pearl Harbor. Figured that was appropriate for this kind of review. Now I'm going to let it go ahead and just rip here, and then once we get airborne we'll close the window, but I want you guys to hear this. I'm going to try to keep it quiet. I get nervous on the takeoff anyway, so just hopefully you guys will enjoy the sound. Alright, so here we go. You want to be ready with that right rudder. She will get you, and the right aileron. Right rudder and right aileron. We are airborne. Wasn't too bad. Landing gear coming up. Just flaps up. Flaps aren't normally open. I'm not quite sure why they're hanging open like this. Oh, there they go. There they go. So I didn't close them, that's why. And there you guys go. Trim wheel and trim settings are very responsive. Close that canopy. Go ahead and set her back. So manifold pressure we want under 44. We're looking for about 24 on the RPMs, 2400. From here, she is a dream. And to show you guys, I told you I would. Master arm, gun sight light. There it is. Just the brightness. But anyway, this thing is really cool. Really cool. To show you guys the dive brakes. Pitch that nose down. There's our dive brakes. You can see them down right there. Using the buildings as a reference of my altitude. Absolutely a blast to fly. Handles very well. Even look at the texture on the gun sight glass, on the HUD glass. You can see the edge of the glass frame itself, and then that distortion that you would see if you were looking through it through the edge of the glass. Texturing on the canopy window. The flight model is absolutely great. It's a very challenging aircraft to fly. That takeoff that you guys just witnessed is probably my best one. Now they do say also in the guide that if you want a bit of an easier takeoff, you know, to enable auto rudder, and that will smooth things out a bit. But they even give you some history in the guide, you know, and one of the things about the Corsair apparently that was very notorious for her was she was a death trap at low speeds. She didn't like flying slow, which is why takeoff and landing and the transitions were very scary for this particular aircraft. But once you get the hang of it, and as you guys saw, I added a bit more right rudder than what the guide had recommended, and that helped quite a bit. That was the first time I've done that. So again, learning the different you know, configurations and how you need to approach this aircraft is a lot of fun. A lot of fun. She flies very well. Much like what you would expect. I mean, I can go start pulling like crazy. Just notice that airspeed falling right off the wing. She handled very well in VR. I actually think she did better in VR than what she's doing right now, which is funny. But yeah, I don't think Microsoft Flight Simulator liked that particular turn. It's kind of funny. Give her a second to smooth out. I think I made it mad changing the settings that fast. But I can tell you guys right now, they could ask $50 for this aircraft, and I would pay it. I mean, just between the modeling, the texturing, the flight model, the functionality of all the different switches, buttons, etc. inside the cockpit. You know, even though there isn't any combat model in Microsoft Flight Simulator, which is perfectly fine, that makes sense. Just the fact that they took the time to at least model the controls, you know, the fact that the gun sight comes up, you know, that's something silly, right? But they did it. They put it in there. You know, the fact that the bomb release switches work, again, silly. You know, we're not going to use that, but they put it in there. They modeled the real aircraft. And I do believe this aircraft does already exist in P3D. This is not a port over. I can tell you that right now. There's no way these textures exist in P3D. It's fantastic. I'm absolutely in love with it, and I think you guys are going to be too. This is an aircraft that I'm going to find myself flying a lot. It's extremely challenging. She's a fighter at low speed, and she's a dream at high speed. So you know, you get sort of both worlds. And with that in mind, we'll go ahead and set ourselves up for a landing back at Ford Island and see what you guys think of it. So we returned home. There's Ford Island right there. We're going to start setting ourselves up here. I'm not sure what this stuttering is all about. Ever since I made that turn, the thing's madder than crap at me. I don't think it has anything to do with the aircraft. I really don't. Alright, so we're going to start pulling our power off here. We're still in excess of 290 knots there. extend out a little bit, bleed some of that airspeed off. Look at that though. Isn't that gorgeous? Completely appropriate. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and drop flaps 10 down. Start pulling some of it out. Now we're falling. Flaps 20. I will say, when you're learning, give yourself a lot of space with this aircraft. When she loses speed, she loses it very quickly. And again, she's mean at low speed. She doesn't like it. She gets mad at you. And so you're going to have to sweet talk her a lot. There's going to have to be, you know, buying candy in order. Oop, turned a little too far. You have to buy her candy. You're going to have to give her, you know, a nice wash down when you get home. She doesn't put up with a lot of crap. Alright, let's get that landing gear down. Let's go back to full prop. Mixture should always be an auto lean. Right about there. Alright, we'll start pulling that power off again. And go flaps 40. Actually, let's go ahead and take her all the way down. That power off. A little steep on my approach here. If you have a trim wheel, really take advantage of it. Really take advantage of it. Use it as often as you need. When you touch down, remember what I said about the right rudder and the right aileron. You're going to be wanting to watch it. She will rock to the left, and that wing's going to want to dip to the left. It's not just a matter of the rudder. I don't know what the stuttering's all about. Alright, here we go. Slowly pulling that power off. Ooh, little bounce. Adding some right rudder, adding some right aileron. Whoa, too much right aileron. Come on, baby. Ooh. No. We lost it. We lost it, boys. Oh, yeah, that's bad. Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys right now. This is the first time I've done this, and I'm glad that you guys saw it. Because the reason why I'm glad you guys saw it is because it happened because this aircraft's challenging. It's the first time I've done it. It's also the first time I've landed in a grass field. But that was just me overcorrecting. I absolutely overcorrected on that one. So that was totally my fault. That had nothing to do with the flight model. The flight model is just that good. I'm really impressed with this, guys. And I've never flown a real F4U or FG-D1 or 1D. But I can tell you that if, from everything I've read about it, from everything I've seen about it on History Channel, etc., they've nailed this aircraft. It's a ton of fun, and I want you guys to also remember one last time, this is an early access version. Many of these features, I mean, essentially everything that you saw here is subject to change. But as it is right now, I would have no problem recommending this aircraft. Again, I can't stress enough, I crashed this plane. The plane did not crash it, I did. I have landed it successfully probably 8 or 9 times already, but each time it's challenging. It's real easy to get into what, if I were to take a bet, what that was is ground loop. It fights you. You have to be ready for it. I mean, all the way down to that stopping position. If you hit the brakes too hard, as you guys saw, you know, nose goes in the ground. But if you guys are looking for a more authentic flight experience, I think that you guys are really going to enjoy this one. It was really, really a spectacular plane to fly. That's so sad. I'm so sorry, girl. Anyway, so let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will be making more of them up until the release takes place. That way you guys can hopefully see some progress in later flight videos. And I promise you'll see better landings. This was my first time landing on the monitor. Like I said, I've been flying VR the entire time, so that probably has something to do with it too. You don't have any depth perception, but actually I don't get to use that excuse. Never mind, my wheels were already on the ground. I just sucked and kicked the rudder. Anyways, so you guys, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and a big shout out to the developers of MilViz. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to show this off. All right, guys, have a good night.